Hello there, and welcome to another episode on FOBB's podcast. So far, the year has been good, and I believe the year sure has amazing things for every one of us. My name is Faithulu Ashimbalaji Blessing, FOBB for short. In this episode, I will be addressing the topic of commitment to the pursuit of a purpose, dreams, and visions, and I have titled this "Ed in the Game." All right, so let's get into it. So every sport coach knows how much of a liability a player or an athlete is to the team in a game or a tournament, right? And basically that player can cost the team the needed victory, and wins, because he or she is prone to making mistakes, among other things. So the coach or the coach's job goes beyond just preparing the team for the game or the tournament, but to also ensure that every member of the team is in the right frame of mind to commit to the cause of winning the game or the tournament. So even when a coach notices that there's a player or an athlete that is distracted for any reason, the coach is well within his right and his power, to bench such player or athlete during the course of that game or tournament to save whatever chance the team has, at winning the game or tournament. Now, there are different things that may affect a player or an athlete, causing them to be mentally and physically distracted and not being able to fully commit 100% to a game or a tournament. Some of these factors can include emotional and mental stress from major life seizures. Now, I've come to realize that when certain challenges eat you, you realize how hard it is to concentrate, how hard it is to be in the right frame of mind to focus on your goals. It becomes really difficult because you have things, you're battling with, things that you're dealing with in your mind, in your heart. Sometimes you might not even be able to share with anybody. So it becomes hard to actually, focus on goals, pursue dreams and purpose and all of that. Sometimes it's like you just want everything to end, right? There are times, when certain challenges can eat you and you're just lost. You're just lost and you need some finding, right? That happens sometimes. So emotional stress, emotional tension, pressure from work, from home, from the family, things not working out and all of that can really pose a serious challenge and give, resulting mental and emotional stress. Lack or loss of motivation, I've also found that can also be responsible for distraction, making people not to have their head in the game. When you've lost motivation for the things that you do, and there can be different reasons also for why people lose motivation or suffer from reduced motivation, but I'm not going to go into that right now. So I'm just going to go to the next reason or factor. Tiredness, right? Tiredness can also be a constituting factor to loss of focus, right? So it's important to keep our minds and our spirits sharp and our bodies, prime. If we really want to achieve our goals, if we really want to achieve our purpose, if we really want to achieve our dreams, it's important to have our minds, our spirits, soul, and bodies, primed and sharp at all times, right? It is really, really, really important because tiredness can result in loss of focus. When you're just tired and you need rest, you don't want to focus on anything. Now, it's okay to be tired, but then prolonged season of tiredness is what is barred, right? When you're exhausted, when you've put in some work emotionally and physically, mentally, it's okay to get tired. But then when that tiredness spans more than the necessary period of time, when you start to experience a burnout, you become, it goes back to losing motivation to want to get anything done. and then you start to lose focus, you start to lose drive, you just want to be left alone, you don't want to do anything, you become unproductive or you become less productive. So it's important to ensure that you are not constantly tired, or that when you get tired, you take some time off, right? You take some time off to recoup, right? You take some time off to retreat, right? To get your fire back, to get your zeal back, right? So it is very, very important. Also, lack of conviction, and I think this is a major one, right? Lack of conviction or loss of conviction, right? When we are pursuing purpose, you're pursuing goals, you're pursuing dreams. If you're not convinced about what you're pursuing, or you're not convinced about your pursuit, you get easily distracted, because you get to a point where you're like, why am I even doing what I'm doing? What is the reason behind this pursuit? Why am I pursuing this goal? Why am I at this job? Why am I in this business? Why do I want to get married to this person? Why, you begin to have a lot of whys. Now, it's okay to question, your drive, your motive, your reason, right? It's very good, right? This helps you to come to a level of or to a state of reassurance. But if you cannot answer those whys, if you cannot answer those questions, I can tell you, you are in trouble. It's real trouble, and you need to go back to the drawing board, retrace your steps to be able to ensure that you're really convinced about what you're doing. Why? Because it usually ends up in frustration and catastrophe. And why it's frustrating for many people is that they've invested time, resources, invested a lot into that pursuit, only to discover that they were engaged or invested in the wrong thing in the long run. And that, it breaks one's heart so much, right? It's just like someone who's been, dating someone, or, courting someone, only to discover that it was not meant to be, or that the person eventually is engaged to another person. I mean, you can picture that kind of heartbreak moment, right? It takes serious work, and it takes a whole lot of time for a lot of people to recover from that kind of thing. Now, you can picture that in the light of one's purpose, right? When this is really, really, really about your life, it can be a serious challenge. You can pose a serious challenge when a conviction is not right, or a conviction is not rock solid about what we're doing. Laziness is also one thing I found out that, causes a lot of people to be distracted, right? When you're not, so serious about what you're doing, you're the lazy type. You could be motivated to actually try to get some things done, but the moment the laziness kicks in, because your mind is not really there, you're not so serious about it, your mind is not really in what you're doing. So when any bit of distraction comes, your mind is easily switched, onto other things. You lose focus easily because you're not serious about what you're doing in the first place. So laziness is a serious thing to deal with. And laziness bets procrastination. Laziness bets a whole lot of things, right? It's important to make sure that laziness is not in the recipe for the year 2024, so that you can achieve remarkable results. Also, lack of confidence and overconfidence. Yes, lack of confidence and overconfidence, right? When people are not confident enough, and this can corroborate the factor of lack of conviction that I mentioned earlier. When people are not convinced enough about what they are meant to be doing, or why they are doing what they are doing, they can easily get distracted. So when other opportunities, other ideas come around, other things, or they see what other people are doing and how they are doing it, and the kind of results they're generating and all of that, they get easily distracted. Why? Because they are not confident enough either in their ability to be able to do the thing they've set out to do, or they are not confident enough about their conviction of why they are doing what they're doing, right? So it's important, right, to ensure that you're confident enough, right, before you set out to do anything. And if you have already set out and you are able to check the box of conviction, then you need to motivate yourself to the point of serious confidence, right? Now, overconfidence, you might wonder how overconfidence leads to distraction. Now, people who are overconfident also get easily distracted. Why? Because they feel they can do anything, they can easily get things done, do anything, when they want, they can easily pull things off, right? And this is a common bane or a common, I don't know what word to use for that now, or should I call it a common weakness of people who are super smart, people who are heavily gifted, people who are super skilled, right? They tend to be overconfident and always think they can get to pull things off easily. And eventually they realize, while sometimes they might be able to get away with some things, eventually their attention gets distracted to other things. Why? Because they tend to get themselves involved in too many things at the same time, just thinking they can hold it all together, right? So it's important not to be overconfident. It's important, overconfident people are the kind of people that, let me use this example. You're preparing for an exam and they know they're supposed to be studying and all of that, but because they know they are book smart and all of that, they can easily pull some things off. They rather get involved with another project, which is quite important, probably another school project, and just, use up their time on that. And then exam comes, boom, 1 week to the exam or few days to the exam, they just believe they can easily just brush through some of those things, haven't listened in class and all of that, and then be able to just pull things off. It's the same thing with workers, in the workplace. They rather devote their time to, or having devoted their time to some other task, the core responsibility, they just feel it's something I get to do easily, something I do on a regular basis, so I can easily pull it off. So such people end up discovering that they are doing things, when the deadline is already knocking, or on the deadline itself, and it usually results in stress and less productivity. So it's important that if we're going to actually achieve results this year, make the most of this year 2024 and achieve remarkable results, don't be overconfident. Do the right things at the right time. Put the right structures in place to accommodate everything that you need to do, and spread your time over responsibilities, duties, and the tasks that you have at hand, as it should be, so that you are not running pillar to post or elter skelter, when you should be relaxing, when you should be in a state or in a position of rest. It's very, very important. Now, lack of discipline also is one very serious factor that causes or that results in loss of focus, or that brings distraction. If you're not disciplined, anything goes for you. You can accommodate anything at any time. You have no regard for your time or other people's time. You can just do things as it comes to you. You can just do things anyhow as it comes to you. You're not going to be able to achieve anything in life, in purpose. You're not going to be able to achieve much, right? And you'll discover that investment of time, investment of resources would constantly and usually amount to little or nothing. Why? Because you are not disciplined enough to manage time, to manage resources, to manage relationships, to manage opportunities. So it's important that you take discipline as a very vital part of things that you need to pay attention to in the year 2024. Right. So it's very, very important. So now let's talk about the things that we need to do to ensure that we have our head in the game in the year 2024 and even beyond, as we look forward to being able to achieve remarkable results this year and beyond. So what are the things that we need to do to ensure that we have our head in the game? If we want to primarily achieve purpose, fulfill our dreams, and secondarily make the most of this year, I wrote down here that also with every opportunity that the year presents itself, I wrote here that number one, primarily, you must find your purpose. You must find your purpose. You must birth that vision, right? And let it consume you, right? Now, for some persons, you've discovered your purpose. You know what your purpose is. You have dreams, you have visions. But for some other persons, that vision has not consumed them enough. Now, there are those who have not figured out their purpose. There are those who have figured it out, but it has not consumed them. And there's the category of people who are driven by their purpose and their vision and their dreams. Right? So there are 3 categories of people. Now, if you're in the first category, you need to go to the drawing board. You must find and discover your purpose. What on earth you're here for. Else, you might end up running another person's race, or you might just end up living as a victim of circumstance. Like anything comes, whatever life throws at you, and you don't want to live life that way. If you're in the second category, you have found your purpose, you've discovered your purpose, but it has not consumed you. You don't have enough passion for it yet. You don't have enough drive. It is not driving you. You need to go back to the drawing board as well to ensure that you conceptualize that vision, you internalize that vision, you internalize that purpose to the point where you become an embodiment of that vision, you become an embodiment of that dream, you become an embodiment of that purpose, right? And if you are in the third category, you found your purpose and that vision and that dream drives you, I say congratulations to you. Why? Because you're very well on the right track to making the most of the year 2024 and achieving remarkable results in this year and beyond. If your vision and your dream is not strong enough, on your heart to get you immersed and keep you up at night, working, both literally and figuratively, you're not yet there. And that is the truth. If your vision does not drive you, crazy enough, right, to keep you up at night, to get things done, to just, looking for new ways, new ideas to make things work, constantly researching, constantly innovating, constantly creatively looking for new ways to get things done, you're not yet there. If that push is not there, if it doesn't feel like you have limited time, the way people who have figured out their vision or figured out their purpose usually feel is like they don't have enough time to get all of the things they have to get done. Now you need to there's a thin line between being over ambitious and being overzealous and being purpose driven, right? It's important to note that you can only do as much as you can. That is the truth. You can only do as much as you can, but you will never know the limit of what you can do if you do not push yourself. That is the reality. You can only do as much as you can, but you will never know the limit of what you can do, what you can get done if you don't push yourself. So if that vision does not push you enough to push yourself to get things done, you are not yet there. So it's very, very important that you pay attention to your purpose. If you don't fully understand it yet, Bible says we see in part and prophesy in part. It's okay, things get clearer to us as we, work it out. Things get, about our purpose, about our vision, about our dreams get clearer to us as we work it out. It might not come to you all at once. Definitely it will not come to you all at once. You begin to work it out gradually, and it gets clearer onto you. But if you don't put in the work, it won't get clearer onto you, and it will not drive you enough to the place of accomplishment and fulfillment. All right. The second thing I highlighted in my note is that you need to be rock solid in your conviction. Without solid conviction, the reality is it's easy to lose one's head and get distracted. And this is very, very important to note. If your conviction, we talked about earlier, if your conviction is not solid enough, you get distracted easily. Right? So when pursuing purpose, it's important to be really, really rock solid in your conviction. The Apostle Paul was writing to the Corinthian church, and he said in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 58, he says, "Therefore, dear brothers and sisters," I'm reading from the New International Version, right? It says, "Now, therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm, let nothing move you. Always give yourself fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain." Right? It's talking to them about being rock solid in their conviction, knowing what they are doing. not allowing themselves to be distracted or tossed to and fro, by every wind of doctrine, by things that happen, by situations and circumstances. Because when you are convinced about what you need to be doing, why you should be doing it, where you are headed, your destination, and the results that you're going to be achieved, that you're going to be able to achieve rather, nothing will move you, nothing will shake you. And this is why he said, you see, in the ending of that verse, he says, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. So there is an end in view. There is an end in view, right? And that end in view is what is counseling them to make their drive, because they know that there is a reward at the end of whatever they are doing. And so they should make that the fuel for the work they are doing for God, right? And so also it is with our purpose, right? If you are able to picture the end in view, if you're able to picture the reward that is in view, you'll be able to drive yourself, and this will form the basis of your conviction, right? And nothing will be able to shake you, because you know that when you do A, B, C, and D, it will generate this result, and you'll be able to do this and this and this in the end. Nothing will be able to shake you. So even if somebody comes and tells you it cannot work, you know that it can work. Why? Because you have seen it, you have pictured it, it's clear in your mind, you know where you're headed, and nothing will be able to shake it. Even when it seems like things are not working out, you know exactly what you will be doing, why you are doing it, and you would not allow the voices of naysayers to actually distract you. But if your conviction is not rock solid, anything that people say, things that people see on the outside, will really distract you. You hear a lot of people now saying, probably working certain jobs now, or living their lives in certain ways now saying that they could have done better, they could have achieved more if not that they were dissuaded by certain people. Maybe they listened to certain counselors, or probably listened to some of their parents, or followed the path of certain friends and allowed themselves to be distracted and all of that. And now they are realizing in regret now in retrospect, and regretting that they could have done more if only they were rock solid in their conviction and really follow through, because they knew what they should be doing, but they were not convinced enough to actually pursue it. So it's very, very important to be rock solid in your conviction. Also, I found that you have to be very tenacious and unrelenting, even in the face of things that are not working out, in the face of things that are seemingly not working out. I've realized that failures, sometimes are just there to redirect our path or our steps towards, toward a better way of doing things. And that is the truth. Failures in themselves are not bad sometimes. In fact, a lot of times, it is telling you that there is a better way to get things done. The problem with failing is not realizing why you failed. You have truly failed when you don't realize why you failed and how to get things done better. If you failed and you cannot realize, or you cannot figure out the way out of that mess, or the way out of that situation, or the light that situation presents you, or the opportunity to be able to get things done better, the reality is failure is a reroute. Is a reroute of status quo, is a reroute of the manner and pattern in which you get things done, or in which you have gotten things done that led you to that point. So failure is rerouting your path to the right way if you are able to see the path that has been laid before you, right? So even in the face of things not working out, look at Thomas Edison. Look at the number of times he attempted making the light bulb, right? And then when he was asked, I think that was he attempted that 1,000 times, right? And then he was asked in an interview or so, and it was like he learned 999 times the way not to get the light bulb done. So he saw it as an experience, a learning curve on how not to get that thing done. And every other innovation that came about the light bulb followed in his footsteps, basically. And all of those people didn't have to make the mistakes that he made to be able to get things done. They basically improved on what he had done to be able to do something better. And that is the reality, right? Now, I should also say that it's very, very important to shun laziness. I talked about that earlier. Shun laziness by all means. Shun laziness by all means. Give yourself to doing the right things at the right time. Give yourself to doing the right thing at the right time. Now, discard and avoid every form of physical distraction. As a matter of fact, everything that does not benefit the pursuit of your purpose, anything that does not benefit the pursuit of your dream, anything that does not benefit the pursuit of your goals, anything that does not take you a step closer or steps closer to the fulfillment of your dreams, you have to shun it, right? If you have to cut down on how much food you eat, as somebody might be wondering, how does food affect me fulfilling my purpose? See, there are times that when you eat too much, you are not able to get as much done. Why? Because you are weighed down by the weight of what you've eaten. Look at how certain athletes eat, right? They eat for function, right? Not for satisfaction. Now, I'm not saying when you're eating, you should not be satisfied, right? You should have your cheat days, definitely. But then eat more for function than for satisfaction and for quantity. I mean, a lot of people consume so much now that it just weighs them down. It becomes a burden onto them. Sometimes you should wake up as early as possible, but because you ate so much late into the night, you're so weighed down and so heavy that you cannot wake up. You know, some people should wake up and pray, but then because of how much they've eaten and how late they've eaten, they are not able to wake up. Distractions can be as simple as that. I mean, staying up late into the night to just, do frivolous things is a distraction, right? If you need to cut down on the things you want, Netflix and chill, and all of that, that keeps you up late at night, so that you can wake up early in the morning and be productive, put your mind to work, task your mind to be able to, pray, worship God, meditate, and allow God to speak to you, gain insight, read books. You can wake up in the morning after you've done your devotion, pick up books, read, and get insight, research into things. You get time to actually think. You get time to actually think with a fresh mind, and you gain new perspective on how to get things done. But then if you went to bed very heavy, tired, groggy, you wake up heavy, tired, and groggy, and you just go into the day like that, you realize that you're just very, very unproductive in the day, and you're wondering why you're still at the same level, trying to just move things. Yes, your mind actually wants to get things done, but your body, in a way, and your mind, and your brain is tired to be able to get much done. Why? Because you're constantly being tired. So every other form of distractions as well, you need to cut them off. Things that that does not benefit the pursuit of your dream and your purpose. I really don't need to be telling some of us some of these things. Why? Because we know your conscience convicts you every time that these things that you're doing will not get you anywhere. As a student, you know that the time you're supposed to be studying, there are things that you're not supposed to be doing. So places are spending too much time on social media to be productive in life, right? I'm not banning social media. I'm not speaking against social media. Social media is fantastic. We reach ourselves through social media. I use social media, right? But over time, I'll have to cut down on how much presence I have on social media so as to be able to get things done. I'm still not there. There are things I'm still learning to cut off as well. I mean, we're all in the same boat, right? There are things I'm learning to cut off as well. Now, so some things might really be hard to be able to cut off, at the onset. But if we'll give ourselves to it, we'll be able to, really cut those things off and achieve more results with our lives. All right. I also need to say that constantly fellowshipping with people, or engaging with people and engaging in things that boost your motivation is very, very important if you keep your head in the game. Now, you need to be around people who constantly motivate you, who speak words of possibility, who speak words of wisdom, who give you wise counsel, who encourage you to do the right things, who encourage you to do big things. Not people who speak down at you, not people who will always, water down your ideas, not people who will speak down on the things, those lofty dreams and ideas some people don't do this intentionally. They're not even speaking directly to you, but then you've just been around them too much that their perspective about life has started to impact on your own perspective about life, of the kind of possibilities that you have or the kind of possibilities that you can achieve. So you need to be conscious of the kind of people you let in your circle, the kind of people you allow to speak over your life, the kind of people that you engage or converse with. It's very, very important. And then constantly engage in things that motivate you or that boost your motivation. Constantly engage, competitive things, right? Competitive things. Engage in games, certain games, right? With other people, that boost, that confidence, that keeps you in a state of competitiveness, right? Not just something, that will just distract and waste your time, or every time, but things that will keep you constantly motivated to want to do more. Attend seminars, attend conferences, listen to people inspire you, through their lives, experiences, things. I'm talking about listening to people who actually have a track record of excellence, a track record of, verifiable results. Listen to them, let them motivate you. Listen to your mentors, people who have a track record of excellence, and this will constantly put you, on your toes to want to do more. Why? Because you get to a point where you're like, this person has done it, I can do it. Now, this is not also a function of age. The kind of persons that you might be looking up to sometimes might be lower or might be lesser to you in age. It's not a function of age, it's a function of results. It's a function of results, and this is very, 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 very important. Also, I'd like to say that you should do everything and anything to protect your joy and happiness, because where there is sadness, there is weakness, right? I know there are times where it's hard and you just can't help these things, right? There are those times, but you can help yourself by encouraging yourself in the Lord, right? Be thankful always for all the good days and the not so good days. Be thankful, for your wins, the big wins, the little wins, and your shortcomings and failures as well. Just be thankful. When you maintain an attitude of gratitude, you realize that, your joy tank would always be full. Why? Because you see clearly when you thank God. When you're thankful, you see more clearly. Right, you see more clearly. It's a mystery, but then it's the reality. You see more clearly when you engage more in gratitude and you are more thankful. You see more clearly. And finally, I'd like to say that be ready to do the work. Be ready to do the work, to do whatever is necessary, as when due, and to do the right thing at the right time. Right? Also, going the extra mile. We can't overemphasize this. You must be willing to go the extra mile. You must be willing to do the things that other people won't do. You must be willing to do what other people deem as too much. The reality is, if you want to stand out in life, you want to stand out in influence, you want to stand out in result, you must first stand out in the work and in the effort you put in as well. And that is the reality. You must be willing to stand out in the amount of work and in the amount of effort you put in, right? So as to be able to stand out. That is very important. Lest I forget, I like to say that you must be accountable, and that's the reality. You must be accountable. So what does accountability have to do with having your head in the game? Accountability helps to keep you on track, so that when you are losing it, you're veering off track, you're going off course, you're losing focus. There can be somebody who will draw you back, who will call you to order to say, no, these and these are not the things you said you're going to be doing this year. I'm not yet seeing any result about this and this you shared with me. These are people who can call you to order, people that you respect, people that can talk sense into you, right? You should be accountable to them. I have quite a number of persons in my life that when I talk to them, and at certain points they can call me to order and say, we're not seeing this, we're not seeing that, what's going on, right? My family is one major pillar in that area. My dad and my mom, my sister can always say, what's going on? Why is this not in place? What's the challenge? They want to, not just to chastise you, but also want to find out what the challenge is. Probably you're struggling with something and they'll be willing to help you. I have mentors, who I can always reach out to, and who such that if they're not seeing some things happen, they can always reach out to me and say, hey boy, what's going on? What's the matter? What's the challenge? Why are these things not in place? Why are these things not going? I have friends, some certain friends as well, that when I'm veering off course, they can easily reach out to me. I mean, I'm not the kind of best friend kind of person. I really don't have a best friend. I have people who I respect, people I can call friends who I respect. Some of them are my age mates, some of them are older than me. I have people like that who are peers, and some who are older than me who can always call me to order to say, young man, these things, this and this and this and this, and it's not right. I know, it's very, very important. I have somebody like that in my life. Just a couple of days ago, just about a week ago, she just started to point out some things. I was like, this and this and this, why you should know better, you should not be doing this, you should not be doing that, and all of that. And I really didn't have too much to argue about, because I knew exactly what she was saying, even though I had some bit of justification to actually give in that regard, to say or to explain myself. But it was profound for her to be able to reach out to say, this and this are not right, for you to be doing, especially seeing where you're coming from and the things you want to achieve. So you should be accountable, and that is very, very important. Accountability is key if you must keep your head in the game. It's just like I started with the case of a coach, right? Your coach, in a football team or in any sports team, his job is not just there to train you, but to mentor you and to ensure that your head is in the game, right? If your head is not in the game, the coach is there to straighten you out, and that is the reality. So you must be accountable. And let me just end on that note. Accountability is very, very key if you must have your head in the game. Now, I hope this blessed you, and I hope this helps you. To just cap it up, I'd say that if we must make the most of this year and forge powerfully ahead to achieve remarkable and unprecedented results in our pursuit of purpose and the pursuit of our goals and our dreams, it's important to have our head in the game. And I like just to pray for somebody who is listening, that in the name of Jesus, the grace to have your head in the game and to keep your head in the game, receive that grace in the name of Jesus. All right. Thank you for listening to this episode. I really do hope that this helps someone and this bless someone. You can always reach out with your comments and opinions and views, and we'll be sure to entertain them and to look through them. We're here to learn together. That is the essence of this podcast in its entirety, right? So till I come your way again on another episode, keep living a life of purpose, keep living a life of faith, and keep your head in the game.